Hey everyone, it's Duran, and I can't help but feel like something's missing. Oh yeah, that. So if you've watched any of my videos, you probably know that I am obsessed with electronic music. But one other thing I'm obsessed with is trivia. So I thought it'd be fun to combine these two beautiful things into one video. So today we're going to be talking about 4, technically 5, fascinating facts about electronic music. It's starting to sound like a Matthew Santoro video. Although with much better hair, obviously. Anyway, number 1. So, little history lesson. Germany is kind of the birthplace of electronic music. But electronic music started to get more mainstream and pop when it got to Britain. And it also started getting more industrial. Let's take an example from both those genres. Phil Oakey of the Human League, and if you're saying, I don't know the Human League, you know the Human League. Don't you want me, baby? And Richard H. Kirk of Cabaret Voltaire. Now both of these men have been the creative minds behind bands that are pioneers of their genre. Synth pop with the Human League, and industrial with Cabaret Voltaire. Although Cabaret Voltaire did later get more synth pop. But one thing that you may not know is that the two actually have a common influence. In the documentary Synth Britannia, which I will be citing a lot throughout this video, both of them said that they were influenced by the soundtrack to the 1971 film A Clockwork Orange, which was entirely electronic. And the person who scored that film was none other than Wendy Carlos. Now you may be thinking, oh, what's so special about Wendy Carlos? Well, aside from what I just mentioned about her inspiring two of the biggest names in electronic music, she's actually a transgender woman. Yes, when she composed Clockwork Orange, she went by the name Walter Carlos. Though apparently around that time she still identified as female, she just hadn't gone open about it. And if I remember correctly, she was still getting hormone therapy at the time. Still, I think it's really cool to know that a transgender woman ended up influencing Britain's electronic music scene. Fact number 2 takes us from 70s Britain to 90s Germany. And in 90s Germany there is a man named Alec Empire. Alec is a very prominent techno producer and DJ. However, unfortunately, around that time, neo-Nazis came in. And since we all know neo-Nazis like to ruin everything good and holy, including music, they declared techno and trance true German music. And Alec Empire, not being one to stand for racism, decided to fight back against the neo-Nazis in the way only a former punk can. So he took the fast hardcore techno that the Nazis declared true German music, and combined it with samples of soul music, which at least at the time was a predominantly black music genre. And as some of you may have guessed, that resulted in one of the most chaotic and energetic music genres of all time, breakcore. That is one more reason to love breakcore. And of course, another reason to love Alec Empire. Number 2.5, which is less of a fact and more just something funny, there's an actual electronic instrument called the sackbut. I'm not even kidding, there's a link to the Wikipedia page in the doobly-doo. Alright, on to fact number 3. So I'm sure we've all heard of Daft Punk. Whether it be from their amazing 2001 album Discovery, or their more recent success with their hit single Get Lucky in 2013. However, what you may not know is that the two members of Daft Punk, Thomas Bangalter and Guy Manuel de Homem-Christo, were actually in a rock band before they were part of Daft Punk. The band was formed in 1987 and took the name Darlin' after the Beach Boys song of the same name. It was a very small local act and the band was only together for about 6 months. Which after that, Thomas and Guy decided to go off and experiment with synthesizers, and subsequently become the biggest names in dance music. And our 4th and final fact. So as I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Germany was the birthplace of electronic music, and one of its fathers was Kraftwerk. Or should I say 4 of its fathers, because Kraftwerk was a 4-piece band. And it just so happened that one day Kraftwerk was playing a show, and that show was being attempted by Paul Humphrey of Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark. Paul Humphrey was amazed at the show because it was the first time he had seen music made entirely out of electronics. In fact, in a direct quote from him in Synth Britannia, he said that it seemed like one of the band members was playing, quote, the electric tea kit, which I'm fairly certain was like a little drum machine. After the show, Paul Humphreys went backstage to Rolf Hutter of Kraftwerk and said, I'm paraphrasing, tomorrow we throw away our guitars and buy all synthesizers. Which I think is a huge statement, but technically isn't true. In many live shows and music videos, Paul Humphreys is seen playing a bass guitar. Which actually, another funny story about the bass guitar, that bass guitar is actually a left-handed bass guitar being played upside down. And there you go, those are 4 fascinating facts about electronic music. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked this video, there's a button for that. My name is Duran, and as always, I will see you lovely people later. And for those of you who stayed after the blackout screen, I'm now going to sing a little bit of Orchestral Maneuvers in the Dark for you. Enola Gay, you should have stayed at home yesterday. Sorry, that's all the words I know.